Welcome to the Love We Share for Entrepreneurship-Podcast, where we dive deep into topics around business strategy, female empowerment, and entrepreneurship education. We do this by sharing real stories, lessons learned, and useful tools that can help you follow your entrepreneurial path, make you smarter, and enable you to be more innovative. My name is Mareike Simtandile-Mgwelo, and I'm happy to be your host for this podcast. Thank you for listening and watching. And please don't forget to subscribe, like, and share my content, as it will help a great deal of spreading the message.
Hi, and welcome back to the Love We Share for Entrepreneurship podcast. My name is Mareike Mgwelo, your host, and I am here with three wonderful ladies today. We are focusing in this episode on the industry, biotechnology, and chemistry, which is super interesting. I have been waiting for this episode for a while. And just to dive a bit deeper, we have the African biotech market. It's still very nascent, but rapidly growing and expanding across healthcare, agriculture, and environmental sectors, but it's still concentrated heavily in healthcare. What I think is important to mention here is that South Africa has access to not just the world-class researchers, but also academic institutions in this space, but insufficient financial support and capital for startups that hinder the growth in this economy or sector. And funding is often not being directed towards high-impact research and development that addresses specific local challenges. Europe's biotechnology and chemistry sectors are strong, globally recognized hubs focusing on healthcare innovation, industrial biotechnology for sustainability, and bioeconomy. And what is to say about the European chemical industry is that it's a major global producer and consumer, but is facing significant challenges from high energy and regulatory costs. But it's crucial for providing materials for other key industries like clean tech, healthcare, automotive, and others. And currently it's undergoing a major transitions towards sustainability and innovation, but it urgently needs supportive policies and investments to remain competitive globally and to achieve its transformation goals. And in order to get some first-hand insights, I invited Marushka and Chanel from Tricom Biotechnologies and Michelle from Syneo, who founded companies in these interesting industries. And Marushka and Chanel have an innovation division that focuses on clean proteins. In addition, Tricom offers lab services as well as plug-and-play research and development ecosystem for startups as part of its commercial division. So my first question to you both is, which markets or like clients and countries have you served in the past, and what is still in your pipeline?
Yeah, so as you mentioned, at Tricom Biotechnologies, we've got three different main divisions. We've got our services R&D sector, and then we've got our education division as well as our innovation division. So for all of them, we have only service clients in South Africa thus far, but the goal is definitely to reach out into the EU. That's where we want to penetrate first. And yeah, I mean, I guess the goal is always to go international.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where we're starting. With our services division, we're working with Wits University, so that gives us access to that infrastructure. And with the education specifically as well, we're looking at the schools and the universities, reaching out to them and doing things like STEM workshops, biotech innovation competitions, anything to kind of spark interest and awareness about STEM.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. And Michelle is also here with me today. And with her team at Syneo, they're working with a CO-based technology to make isocyanates available in Germany and Europe and give researchers and industrial producers, product developers access to the chemical building blocks they need to make innovations happen in Europe. Michelle, where have you seen a demand in the market thus far, and which ones are you hoping to serve in the future?
Thanks. Happy to be here. We have been served the European market so far. We have been active on the European market basically, but we also got some experience in the Asian market as we went to some market exploration trips there, and also we are talking to customers in Japan, for example. So we already expanded internationally, but our focus is still, of course, our beachhead market, Germany, and also the countries who are like speaking German, and of course Europe, as this makes our life more easier when it comes to trade and regulations in general here in Europe. And we have seen the demand from our own research. So when we were researchers at university, we basically noticed that there are not so many chemical building blocks, especially isocyanates, available on the market. And this is because of the conventional production method, which is based on a highly toxic gas called phosgene. And this is only worthwhile on mass production. And this leads to the fact that you cannot produce smaller isocyanates, really specific chemical building blocks, just in a small demand. And this is why, scientists, but also industrial product developers are lacking special chemical building blocks, which help them to innovate their products. And I think, especially here in Europe, we have to move forward with new innovations. And that's why we make this available here on the market. And we start also, as Marushka and Chanel mentioned, with universities and research institutions. They were also kind of our first target groups as well.
That's great. Thank you for sharing. And if you are wondering as a listener, why are we jumping straight into the markets and industries? We've published episodes with their individual founder stories that we'll link in the show notes of this episode. So if you want to listen to them first, feel free to pause and return to this episode later. And now we'll dive deeper into our first category, roots and beginnings. This category is about understanding your upbringing, cultural influences, and early inspirations, because we believe that every time we start businesses, we have a specific background that kind of brings everything together. And so, Michelle, would you like to start? Where did you grow up, and how would you describe your neighborhood?
Yeah, sure. I grew up in a very wonderful house, which was built by my grandfather and was located in a really green and family-friendly side of Leipzig. So I really would describe my childhood as a really good one. I had enough space. I had the opportunity to spend a lot of time in the nature, and it was a really friendly environment. In my childhood, it was basically just my mom, my brother, and my grandfather. But it doesn't matter, or did not matter in the end. It was a very good one, and this was the environment I grew up.
And Leipzig is in the east of Germany.
Yeah,
correct.
It's the eastern part of Germany. So the city itself has developed a lot in the last couple of years. So I experienced it from being like a really old-fashioned city, or people are like having some not thinking or considering Leipzig to live, but now it's like a really hyped city, and it's a really cool place to be, because here's a lot of things are going on. There's a lot of support from the government, but also a lot of companies are coming to Leipzig. A lot of internationals are here actually, and alternative people. So it's been very good to see this transformation of the city as well.
Yeah, I think I also picked that up. I only visited once, but it was a brief visit, but it was wonderful seeing what's happening there, and also just to, get a vibe of the city. So yeah, great stuff. Thank you. And how about you, Marushka and Chanel? What was your neighborhood like where you grew up?
Well, I mean, I grew up, I was born in Mauritius and then grew up there for about 7 years, 6, 7 years. And then I moved to Johannesburg. So the community and the neighborhood was very different in the two countries. Mauritius is very safe and you can go running around doing what you want. Whereas South Africa, you just have to be a bit more guarded. You don't really know your neighbors that well, compared to like Mauritius, where you kind of just know everyone. So that was very different, but yeah, it was a nice transition. I'm proud to be both Mauritian and South African.
Yeah.
So yeah, I got the best of both worlds. I have my mom, my sister, and my dad, and we're all just like a very close, like knit family. And yeah, we've basically just like lived in Joburg since together.
Yeah, and I've always been in South Africa. I was born in Pretoria in South Africa, and I've basically lived there my entire life in Pretoria. I've kind of moved away from it over the years, and then I'll always come back to it. So I love it so much there. And yeah, when I was younger, we used to live on like a bigger piece of land. We had our own house there on that piece of land. So we were quite isolated, if I can say that, but that's never really been an issue for me because I have a huge family. It's massive. So we're 6 sisters in total. There was always people there. I've always been surrounded by people. And then, yeah, at some point we moved into an estate. So then we had a whole bunch of houses that lived together. And again, you'd probably think that that creates a sense of community, but I think South Africans kind of keep to themselves.
Yeah.
They're not very open with their neighbors and like inviting them over. Everyone's like,
We're friendly people.
yes,
But not like,
we're not friends.
yeah.
That was one of the
Yeah, but
advices I got, actually.
Yeah.
Like when I first moved and to South Africa, I was told like, hey, don't make good friends with your neighbors. There's one like there was a one
Yeah.
elderly lady that taught me this at Pilates. I don't know, like where she's kind of coming from, and because we have beautiful neighbors, they're so wonderful, such wonderful people. Not
Aw.
friends, but like
Yeah.
Yeah.
very, very
Friendly.
helpful. And,
Yeah.
yeah, friendly
Yeah.
people. Yeah.
Mm.
Thanks for sharing.
Yeah.
And if there's a flavor that comes to your mind when thinking about home, Mariska, and Chanel, what would that be for you?
I think for many South Africans, it'll be a very similar thing,
Yeah.
which
That's a braai.
it's a braai.
Everyone in South Africa
Right.
braais. So that's a barbecue, basically.
Yeah.
But yeah, you make a fire, there's a braai, there's rugby.
It's just vibes.
Yeah.
It's a good time. And when you can smell somebody else having a braai, it's just,
Yeah, you
sounds
think
good.
like, oh, I should also do a braai now.
Yeah.
So
When is
yeah,
my
always
next
a braai.
one?
Yeah.
And for you, Michelle, what is the flavor that comes to your mind when thinking about?
yeah, the first thing which comes into my mind is chocolate because I
Ooh.
absolutely love it, and I had a really sweet childhood, so this is my the thing I would choose.
I love that answer.
Yeah.
And what memories do you have about school life? So after you kind of grew up and while you were still in school, how was school life for you?
For me, actually, it was pretty good. I had some problems in the first classes I took. My family is not a really educated family, so I was also the first person who studied in our family. So therefore, there was not too much support from my parents at home. But in school, at some point, I developed such a really high or impressive purpose. I really wanted to make it happen. So I think in the first class, I was really motivated and I was doing everything to have good grades and to actually go to Gymnasium, how to say in German. And yeah, I had a lot of support from my teachers there. So I have good experiences. And of course, I have a lot of friendship, which still lasts from the time. So finding friends in school is a good thing. I still have so many friends from this time.
That's amazing that you kind of stick together. And you've lived I think it's a fantastic thing to keep relationships from such an early age and to kind of build up on them because you know each other after a while. And when it comes to the teachers that you mentioned, is there what is the role that your teachers played in your school life, Michelle?
I remember one situation. We had a group work in our school, and we were responsible in creating like a podcast. And I was taking over a leadership role, and I had to manage the whole class and getting everyone the tasks done. And in the end of this, the teacher mentioned that I was doing it so professionally that I could be a media manager when I finished the school, and that's why I applied for media management actually. And in the end, I studied this as well in the bachelor program. Well, now I do not work as a media manager, but in the end, this was basically also based because of the feedback the teacher gave to me, because I had no idea what to do else. So this was the first choice then. So that's the biggest influence one teacher had to me.
Mm.
But that's good skills to have. I mean, nevertheless, right? To have
It was
this
good.
this
It was
background.
nice.
Yeah. And what memories do you have about school life?
So about school life, I really enjoyed my school life because I've also still got my friends from actually grade 8. So from like I'm 14 years old. I don't have like a big circle of friends, but my friends, other than Chanel,
Yeah.
they're both from grade 8. So I've known them for a really long time. And my school really did help you like forge really close relationships with each other. And I went to an all-girls school. And yeah, like the teachers also played like a really big role in my life, is particularly my biology teachers and my geography teachers. They like had a really big impact in the way that I saw science and the way that I learned. And I don't know, like I even remember like the lessons exactly. Like I can remember those
Wow.
properly. So yeah, I really enjoyed that. I was like really busy in high school. I don't know how I had so much energy actually, because if I had to think about my schedule then, if I had to do that now, I don't think I would survive.
No.
Like you do your schooling and then my parents would come fetch me at about 5:30. So I'd play like sport. I was in the softball team. I did drama and house plays and like all of that kind of stuff. And I played piano and marimba and all of like the music things. Plus I was like the sound and lights person. Like I did so many things. Like I had so much energy.
Impressive.
So
Did
yeah,
something stuck with you? Like, did something like did you keep something in your life today? Like, are you still
yeah.
doing musical
Honestly,
instruments?
all of the things that I've done have played some role in where I am today and how I've dealt with things today. Like I had to do an internship in a podcast in the UK, like The Naked Scientist, and I was so glad that I did drama because I managed to tap into like my dramatic creative side, and it really, you get past the shyness and speaking into a mic and doing all of that kind of stuff. So it really helped, and like I don't really still play piano anymore. That's just I don't have time, but during my varsity life, that helped me earn money on the side to just give piano lessons and, be able to pay for petrol and food. So, yeah, I enjoyed my high school time.
And how about you, Chanel?
Yeah, no, I also I quite loved being in high school. I think like when I realized that at some point it was going to end in grade 12, I was like, what am I going to do now? Like, your whole life becomes high school, because I think we were very similar in the types of things that we were interested in and what we did. We weren't in the same school, just by the way.
At all.
Yeah.
So we didn't know each other, and she's 3 years younger as well.
Yeah.
But we both went through like like core science.
Yes.
But also did music and drama.
Exactly.
And all of the weird like things.
So I play piano and saxophone at school. So I was also very musical. I did competitions and I'd state fairs and things like that. Yeah. They'd force you to do it if you took piano.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Was it a choice for you?
It was a choice.
No, it was a force. But yeah, no, it was great. And then I was also very academically strong. In grade 10, I took 10 subjects because I didn't know what I wanted to do. And then slowly, every year, I was like, okay, I've got to drop some of them and choose a direction. And yeah, at the end of the day, I mean, I guess science was the strongest thing that stood out. And then, yeah, regarding sports, I tried. I participated where I could. I was never very good at it, but I was there. I tried.
That's what counts.
Yeah.
You showed it.
I showed
It sounds so much like you have such a lot of voluntary things that you added. And I'm thinking about like the own school life. And I'm not sure about you, Michelle, but did we have so many options? I think we were just forced, that like now you have sports and you're taking all the different types of sports. Like then there's swimming, then there's handball, then there's soccer.
Yes.
I'm not sure, but Michelle, what do you say? Like, isn't that like interesting?
I think this sounds like a really good high school time, because I also have the feeling that we were not able to take so many to choose between so many options. We had to follow our guideline, or there was like strict rules. You have this in this class. I think you could choose probably one or two more options if you are like in the 10th or to 12th grade, but otherwise you have to just follow the line and take the classes which are there. So not too many options, I think.
Wow.
This
Yeah,
we
and
did
also
like
they
after
have
school
such a
though. So it wasn't like a class, it was
oh
like after
Yeah.
extracurricular type of things, like after
ah
classes.
Yeah.
Mm.
I see.
Mm.
With us, I mean, we had long school hours, sometimes even until
Oh.
like until the afternoon, and then because like I'm not sure, I think there was one political change that kind of like mixed the classes. It was not in all states of Germany, but there were some changes politically where they say that, look, you need to do your final year of schooling in the 12th grade instead of the 13th grade, and then they mixed people together in groups where, I was in class with people that were like 3 years older than me, and we had
What?
the same kind of content, and then we were rushed to kind of do a degree. So after 17 years, I had to leave school and then like choose what type of study field I want to venture into, or if I want to do an apprenticeship or something different. But I think it was very much rushed towards, let's get those German students to, finish their degree and finish their schooling.
Wow.
So
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah, that's very
not too much
different.
free
Yeah.
time.
Different way of growing up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think also you described that you guys were really active, so that's not the case for me. I was just lazy after school. It was too much for me. I went home and I actually wanted to die because I was so loaded with everything.
Yeah.
So I was not too active. You guys did a good job, or with the things you took and you already did.
I had to fill my day up
Maybe the
because my parents could only come fetch me like after work and stuff
Mm.
anyways. So you were going to be bored until 5:30, so I might as well do something.
look, I mean, that also kind of like different public transport systems, right? So
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
Germany, you could just easily catch the bus home. And if you miss that bus, then you're not gonna,
Yes,
take another
exactly.
connection. So I think it's just the way
Yeah,
how things are
we didn't
formed.
have that.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
We don't use public transport in South Africa.
yeah.
We've touched a lot about school life. Is there any particular teacher that you want to point out that kind of had a big influence in one of your lives? Mariska, Chanel, is there anyone that?
Yeah, I think like for me, I wouldn't necessarily say I had someone specific that stood out. All of the teachers at the school were very great. I got along with my English teacher very well, and then the principal of our school, I loved him very much. I thought that he was not necessarily that we were close with each other or anything, but just the way that he treated the students, he treated his job. He did such a good job, and you could see he genuinely had a love for students and to make sure that they excel to the best of their ability. So I admire that about him.
Yeah. And for me, I mean, yeah, it was like my biology teachers, my geography teachers. Like I had like specific teachers there that particularly stood out, as well as like some physics teachers, basically all in that same school. But within the sciences, it was really like I don't know, I had like a good learning experience there. So I knew I wanted to do science, and they helped me foster that love for learning it.
Nice. That's so nice. And I think it's just such a great impact that teachers can have on your lives as, students, and also about your career choices that you're making after school. So I'm glad that you had great, people leading you in a way and giving you insights into the different subjects and fascinating you about those. I would like to move on to one of the next questions I have, which is, how did you earn your first money? I'm not sure if you had a thought about it. What was it for you, Mariska? How did you earn your first money?
For me, I mean, that was when I started giving piano lessons when I was like 18. So I think that's the first time I remember earning money. I don't know if I like did anything before. Maybe I did, but like nothing noteworthy because I
Yeah,
can't remember
like
it.
cash here and there.
Yeah, like just like small things.
Yeah.
But the first time I started earning like regular money properly was I went and I found like a piano teaching job. And I was also like learning a whole bunch of other instruments, and they had a piano teaching position. And I was like, yes, I'd love to do that. So I started doing that. And I did that for about 6-7 years.
Oh.
And whenever I needed, like time to go have money or make money quickly or something else, I can always call up my boss and
Yeah.
he'll help me out.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a really good, like, first, I don't know, boss kind of person.
Nice.
So he was like a lovely, lovely guy. Nice introduction to the work life.
Yes. Yeah, and then
That's
like for
good.
me, I think like since I was very young, my mom always pushed us into doing something entrepreneurial, I want to say. She was always very serious about kind of like pushing us in that direction. So, like one of the early things that I did, we would school holidays, because we lived in an estate, we would design and print out these flyers, and then you would go and knock on people's doors and ask, can I please look after your dogs while you're gone? That was a very nice way to earn money, but I will literally never do it again, because some dogs, they see a stranger coming in and they attack. So
hectic.
yeah, I wouldn't do that again, but it was good for learning. And and then the other thing I remember was at some point my mom also told us, and this was when I was in grade 9, so it was always from a very young age. She told us, no, she thinks that us sisters, because we're so many, we should start a company. And we called it Some Cheese, which was basically a mixture of everyone's names together. And my mom went, and I'd say she was the first investor in the company, and she bought us a whole bunch of different like raisins and nuts and like different things that you could basically mix together, like dried fruits. And then we'd mix them all together and we'd make up these tiny packets of trail mixes, and we would go to markets and we would sell it. And yeah, but that was never a consistent thing. That was something, you tried. I think consistently it would be when I started tutoring my first year of university. That was the first time that I started making money consistently. Yeah.
And did you have any subjects specifically for teaching others?
Yeah, it was always maths and science. Always. I guess it was what I was studying, so it was a bit more natural to teach. But those are also the subjects that people struggle with. So, that's when the kids reach
that's a
out
high
and please. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's true.
cool.
Yeah.
How about you, Michelle? How did you earn your first money?
Yeah, I think for me it was much more classical way to earn money. So I was starting earning money with 14 years old, or when I was 14 years old, I started with delivering newspapers. I think a lot of people are doing this in Germany because at that age you are allowed to do it. And with 16, I was working every weekend in hotels and restaurants. So I had a really strict schedule on Saturday and also Sunday to go to work. This was also necessary because, as I mentioned, my family was not too much educated. So, of course, the money was also just a little. And I also wanted to contribute to my living standards, to also buy actually things for myself. And this was a good experience also to go to work and to see how money is earned.
Yeah, and I mean, sometimes it's also nice being able to go outside and kind of get some fresh air while doing your work, depending on obviously the season that you're doing it. Especially with the newspapers, I always had respect for that job because you needed to, take your bike often, right? You didn't have the car at that point. You just took your bike and delivered.
And no matter what the weather.
No matter the weather. Moving a bit to the business side of things, who would be your dream client if you could think of one for Tricom? I'm not sure if I've asked you this in the last episode, but if I have, maybe you had new ideas on who would you like to serve with
I
Tricom.
can't remember if it was in the previous one, but I mean, look, like I said, we've got those 3 different divisions. So for our innovation, which is about it's whey protein, we're taking whey protein and we're making an innovation called nano whey. For that innovation specifically, it would be nutrition and supplement companies. That would be the ideal, but we're very early stages with that still, so things might change and develop as we go along. And then with our services, R&D, we I think that we're the perfect fit for startups, biotech startups, because a lot of companies, I mean, lab equipment and lab services are expensive. And I think, even when we started with our innovation, the first thing we were thinking is, where are we going to make this
Maybe
thing?
we do this.
How are we going to do it? And when you reach out to a lot of big companies that have these labs set up, it's just either so expensive, or if you go to the university, then they take they either take equity or they take IP. So we're that place where you can go. Our services we've got different pricing, depending like if you're academic, if you're startup, if you're industry. And then we make infrastructure available. So we're basically that extension of your scientific team. And so yeah, I'd say that. And then for our education division, it would be schools at the moment. That's our main target, our ideal client. We're going to be starting next year with this actually, and we've already got a school in the pipeline. So as soon as we can get it right with them, we kind of want to take that idea and expand it across multiple schools in South Africa. So yeah.
That sounds very exciting. And if you could pinpoint like one of those dream clients, like literally naming them,
A name,
because
okay.
I believe sometimes it's so cool if we have all this like wide, because your divisions, they're quite diverse and you have quite a lot of different types of institutions and clients that you could serve with what you do. But if there was someone that you would love to work with in collaboration or as a client, who would that be?
For our innovation division, because we're working with functional proteins, like we're basically taking proteins and we're making them smarter. We're making them have additional functions than what they already have. I think a company like Nestle would be really nice to work with, a huge company like that, because they like introducing functional proteins and functional ingredients into their products. So that would be nice. And then, for our services division, I want to say the CSIR would be very nice to work with.
Research councils, universities.
Yeah.
Really, big clients that need proteins. Pharmaceutical companies, but that would be like really further down the line.
Yeah. So I'd say the CSIR for the services, and then for the education, the schools, I don't know if there's a specific school that I'd say I'd love to work with them, because the schools, we've realized that there's a massive need for what we are trying to sell. So it's been really great. Whoever we've kind of approached have been very open to it. But I think maybe getting into the universities might be a bit more difficult. So, I'd say like Wits University would be great and probably the easiest option, just because we've got our connections with them. UCT,
Stellenbosch. I mean, just basically the universities and the female schools as well. So like all girls schools.
Yeah, I might be able to link you up with someone at CSIR, because we've also worked with them previously on one of the projects. So just quickly send me a LinkedIn message, and then I'll reach out. Give you that contact.
Fantastic. Because we've got access to the biocatalysis lab, but more contacts would be fantastic.
Yeah. No, sometimes it's also the decision-making area, or someone that is internal that knows how innovation is driven, how they choose people to work with and stuff. I can definitely give you some insights into that.
Thank
and how about you, Michelle? Is there any, or for which company would you like to deliver a large quantity of your isocyanates? You've previously shared that you're still in that phase of like thinking about the quantities and stuff, but if there's like a dream client, what would that be for Synio?
Yeah, for me, it's quite hard to name it. For me, it would be, or the dream customers are medium-sized companies who are open to innovation, open to cooperate with startups, because I have experienced that the big corporate companies, they are not too open for cooperation. So what we are hearing all the time is, come later if you are bigger, come later if you already scaled out of lab, if you are in the next scaling phase. And this makes us, or this is very hard for us. So I experienced medium-sized companies much more open, but I think in Germany we can do even better, because the companies are not too open to really collaborate with startups. So the first criterion would be that my dream customer would be very open for new innovations, but also would be in industries like pharmaceutical, also plant protection, also coating industry, cosmetic industry, something like this, because our isocyanates are used in so many industries. And you basically use isocyanates to change the properties of the end product. So, for example, our special isocyanates, they make materials heat resistant or safe surfaces water repellent, or for example, mattresses really soft. They have many, many applications. I think our homework is to think about our starting point, because at the moment, to be honest, we are kind of reaching out to a lot of different industries because we have to try which is working the best. But I know focusing on one industry would be very good, but we are not there at this point. So we are still like getting all the information, considering which market would be the best option for us. But for the first time, as mentioned, we are still working also with research institutions and universities, because the isocyanates we are producing, they were hardly available in the last couple of years here in Europe. And that's also why big industries are not using them to build end products, because if they are not available in your supply chain, then you will not make some research with them, right? So you are not going to pay for research if the material is not available on the market. So the first step for us is making them available for research institutions, for the R&D departments of small companies, that they can actually test it and then prove that we are reliable supplier of these chemicals here in Europe. Yeah.
Yeah, working with startups, I also experienced that finding the actual beachhead market, the one that you kind of tap into first, is so crucial, but also so difficult, because at the end of the day, if you have the wide applications that you could be doing, it's probably also about, as you mentioned, Michelle, like trying to pinpoint what type of companies, like how should they act, how should they kind of like approach innovation and be willing to kind of put trust and enough confidence into working with a startup in the space that has developed something that is not yet widely available. So I wish you all the best with that. But I'm sure that there's something that is going to be coming up. And my next question is about visualization. And I wanted to find out, do you believe in visualizing your dreams, and how do you do it? Michelle, maybe you can start.
Yeah. Yeah, I absolutely believe in it. I have a bullet journal and I'm using it on a regular basis. That's pretty good. But also I have my slogan or mantra, how to say in German. So I'm using this to like visualize my vision, my dreams, my goal, what I want to achieve. So for me, at least, it's working pretty well, and I make it visible at so many places. So I'm using also some sticky notes in my flat, putting them on the mirror, for example, that you see it every morning. So this is the way I'm visualizing my dreams, also what I want to achieve.
Would you like to share what's your mantra or what's your slogan?
Yes, it's things don't happen to me, they happen for me. This is something which, I came up a couple of years ago with this, because as everyone, there are some hard times in life, there are some good times, but it's always very good to stick to the positive thing. And you wouldn't be the person now if you haven't experienced what you have experienced. So this was the thing which led me through also hard times. And it's everywhere in my flat as well.
It's a very powerful statement indeed. Yeah.
Yeah.
How about you, ladies? Do you believe in visualizing dreams?
I mean, yeah, I think for both of us, we can say that we do believe in visualizing dreams. And how I do it, I don't know if maybe daydreaming counts as well, where I just sit and have maladaptive daydreaming and think about our futures and all the amazing things that we accomplish.
Important parts of the day needs to be scheduled out in the calendar.
Yeah, we just visualize.
Yeah.
We'll stop calling it daydreaming. It's visualization time. So, yeah, I mean, we basically, and also on our Trello boards, like we kind of have a future list of things that we're going to be doing, and future list of stuff that we're going to implement, and we kind of put everything down there. So, and we're quite intentional with our dreams as well. It's not just like this airy fairy like thing that we think about, but like, okay, we want to do that. Like, what are the steps that we
like what's step 1, 2, 3?
What do we need to do to get there? Let's go do it, and then we do.
We try, then we go.
So yeah, it's project management for your dreams then. So like first you have your visualizing time in your heads, and then you put it on your Trello board. But that's also kind of like writing it down. My mantra, or the statement that I've always kind of like felt very much close to is everything seems impossible until it's done, probably because of my essay connection. And I was so proud when, like, at my workplace, then they have in across the building, they have different quotes that they put, like on the walls. And it's a space where we consult businesses, right? But I kind of felt that because there was one from Elon Musk and they wanted to then replace it with something new. So they asked the team like, hey, what's the statement, or what's the quote that we should be putting there? And so I submitted that and it was taken. So now on the floor where I'm working, it's actually put everything seems impossible until it's done. So it's I'm very glad that, like I can see that statement, and also people that enter the office can see that statement. So it's really cool. And
what I want to point out here as well is Marushka and Chanel, I think you did a good job here, because the difference between a dream and a goal is that you make it measurable, and that you also define steps to achieve them. So I think this is the first step if you have a dream, to come up with some project plan and plan which steps do I have to go and which are the goals I have to reach that in the end come to this situation or to achieve the overall goal. So I think this is a pretty good approach.
Thank you.
It's gonna take you far. It's gonna definitely take you far.
I'm joining your visualization meetings. Please invite me.
When we daydream. It happens involuntarily.
It's such a wonderful thing. It's actually such a cool idea. Like especially industry-specific daydreaming. I mean, isn't it also part of co-creation, in the industry that you're in, to kind of actually see what's possible, and then where things can be then moved, and where people should be put together that kind of work on the same things. It kind of feels like this is something very close to what Tricom also wants to do, is to kind of give startups the space to kind of co-innovate. Such a
100%.
To find a project plan for their dreams, basically.
That's great. The next category is about breaking barriers, and that's about challenges and prejudice faced by female founders in your industry and regions where your business is active. So, Marushka and Chanel, what did you experience, and how would you deal with those experiences when it comes to prejudice, something that you faced as female founders in your industry?
I think look, it is a very male-dominated industry, which is what it is. I mean, you just have to kind of deal with it. It's fine. But we do realize that a lot of the times when we hop on a call or we're with a meeting with a potential client or collaborator or whoever, the first thing they see is, oh, there's these two young girls. I didn't expect that.
People mention it and they're like, wow, you guys are so like young and tiny. Why are you speaking to me?
Exactly. So we've noticed that, and so it does kind of feel like we need to prove our credibility. So throughout the meetings, we kind of just have to, I think that we were very good with bringing our confidence forward and showing that we know what we're talking about.
Because we do know what we're talking about.
We've studied for 10 years just with what we're now specializing in. And Marushka and I are I'd like to think that we're forward thinkers. So sometimes people do look at us and they think, oh, you're young, you're female. That combination is a bit like dodgy. But I think that we try our best to prove to people that like we're in the right space. We know what we're talking about. Our age.
We still have to prove it to them.
We still have to prove it to them,
I just hope that, you're putting out all the content about your, like, the thought leadership, and also like the content, when it comes to the knowledge that you have, is actually, when people are reading this, they already know, so that you don't have to go through that kind of needing to explain and kind of prove the point. Or maybe also, like, my question now is actually, how do you deal with that when it comes in the call? Like, do you try and quickly move towards the actual topic that you're discussing, or do you then also point it out for the people that are on the call with you? Or
We don't really point it out
No.
that much. We kind of are very diplomatic about it.
Yeah.
We answer the questions and then we just move on from those people.
Yeah.
We decide that these are just not the types of people that we'd want to engage with further, and that's it. We move on from that.
Yeah.
so
and
keep the
'cause
call short.
You can tell who would be open-minded to even discussing something like that as well, and who wouldn't be. And I don't think we've met anybody who we felt like, hey, actually we could bring this up.
Yeah.
So
So, I mean, like, if people have got questions, I mean, we were recently actually in a meeting with someone that had a lot of questions about our credibility,
but in
and
a very respectful
in a
manner.
respectful manner.
Yeah.
But they had a lot of questions, so the doubts were evident. And you know what? We answered the questions, and then the point of the meeting is to talk about the product and the service. So
Yeah.
that's where the focus is. The focus isn't about
Anything else.
anything else. Yeah.
Setting the call, and knowing exactly what you're there to talk about is
Yeah.
Yeah, and
helping.
sticking to the points.
Yeah, indeed. Michelle, any challenges you would like to share with the listeners, and how you've overcome?
I can really agree to what have been said now, because we experienced the same situation
Shame.
so many times.
Mm.
They also really ask us whether we already finished university and that we are so young. And so we experienced this situation a couple of times also. But what we also see is that a lot of people, they want to give us more advices than we
Yeah.
actually need. So people are like probably thinking, oh, well, I need to help them. They do not know what to do. So I just give them random advices, which we actually do not need. So
Yes.
I talked, for example, to one person, and it was getting really confidential because he wanted to give me some advices how to lead the company and how to reach out to customers or something like that. But he wasn't a salesman at all. So also hard sometimes if you get some random advices. Yeah, but people really want to give you advices, but I do not ask for them. Or when I ask for them, then I really know, okay, the person has some experiences and I really trust the opinion. But please don't give me all the time advices. I do not need it actually. So this is something we also experience a lot, to be honest. And the same situation as Marushka and Chanel already mentioned, we experience also. But the good thing is, I have to say, here in Germany, we have a lot of programs for female founders. We have a lot of support for female founders. And also, I want to point out that we, as a founder team, we do not make a difference for us. For example, we do not bring this topic to the table, whether we are female or not. We are just doing a good job and we just manage our company. So for us, it's not a topic at all. But there are also a lot of people who bring this topic on the table, but in a positive way. So we also receive a lot of support where it's actually also needed from people because, for example, we are female. So the topic is sometimes like has a positive impact, but on the other hand, sometimes it's also negative when someone pointed out. But in Germany, actually, we have a lot of programs to support female founders, especially in chemistry or other nature science related stuff. So the situation is quite good, I think.
Yeah, it's getting better. Yeah, just don't listen to those voices. It's easier said than done, I guess.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, we can choose, how long these calls are gonna be when they happen. And I think also being able to just set some boundaries when it's needed. Yeah. If you could wish for something to change for female founders in the industry, what would that be for you, Michelle?
for me, it would be, that it's not too often the topic because I want to treat as everyone else. To be honest, I also do not want to have too much attention. I just want to manage my company. I just want to treat it as men as well. So this would be my ideal situation. And I think I hope that in the next couple of years, we in Germany will improve into this situation.
Yeah. And how about you?
Yeah, I mean, I think we agree on that basis. We'd like, less biases for how women's competence is judged. And basically, we just don't want to be judged for, maybe being women or not knowing as much or anything like that. We just want to be, taken for like as our company, look at it like, without any profiling in place. And yeah, and just encouraging collaboration over competition and just working together. And instead of like sitting judging people, we just get together and see how we can help each other.
Yeah.
It's just more productive.
Yeah, let's just work more productively together. I think this is actually a nice reminder. And how can aspiring female founders set a foot in a male-dominated industry like yours? So if someone is interested in the STEM, maybe it doesn't necessarily have to be biotech or chemistry, but if you want to be a femme in tech, how can you get there? What's your first steps?
I think that there are two kind of sides to answering this. One is a bit more like internal, and I think that's just knowing that you've got to back yourself. Like if you're not going to back yourself, how can you actually expect other people to back you? So it's just having that confidence and knowing that like you're capable and you can do this, and you'll figure it out along the way. And most people, everyone, when they begin, they don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, you don't know what you're doing. Even when you know what you're doing, you don't
Yeah.
feel like you know what you're doing.
And then like in a more practical sense, I would say one of the biggest things that's helped us a lot, we've always from the beginning, we were networking with people and finding the right mentors to work with. And we would literally sometimes see someone on LinkedIn, for example, and we'd think, oh, that person looks great on paper. Like let's just send them a message. Yeah, let's just send them a message, meet with them, let's see. And then that has opened a lot of doors for us. So I would recommend that to anyone, even if you're not confident. Just go and do it because you build it.
I mean, we respond when people message us and they want information about things. And I must say, like when we started getting incubated by places like UvuBio, like we really started opening those doors and speaking to like more people. It also, when you start getting in with these people, like with the ecosystem, you start getting confidence to reach out to more other people. So it just grows and grows and grows. And yeah, there's a lot of people that are willing to help. And if you don't ask, you won't get. So
also such a big fan of LinkedIn. Like it's just a book of people and all their profiles. So interesting sometimes, like to see which routes people took in order to get where they are and which, I mean, you can already kind of, I think, spot sometimes based on the profile, like what type of person they are, maybe on the activities that they're publishing, whatever they're posting, commenting on. I think it shows already the type of person that is behind the profile. So do feel confident to reach out. How about you, Michelle? Is there anything that you would like to add?
I think from my point of view, I don't have anything to add because they both mentioned it really well or pointed it out very good. I also think that self-confidence is very important, but also persistence. Like it will take some time. So please just keep going because sometimes it takes even longer for us as females probably to be recognized as an expert or to be like considered as the as a company you want to work with, unfortunately. So just be persistent and just keep on going. I think that's also important.
Yeah. Good advice. Thank you, ladies. Industry insiders now would like to provide some insights into the industry. You are shaping in your very own ways. And this category is called Industry Insider. So first question, what surprised you when it comes to regulations or market entry barriers for you, Marushka and Chanel?
So, I mean, I think what Chanel and I have experienced is, especially in South Africa, the access to accurate data is very hard to get, and access to knowing, and like nobody's trained on how to be an entrepreneur. Like there's no, I don't know, course that you go do that I know of anyways. Again, that goes back to being educated about the knowledge that's actually around and that you can have access to. Like we don't know where to find regulation, anything, and how to really deal with that. And if we didn't have access to the mentors, it would be really difficult for us to know where to even start. Like we're lucky that we have access to these mentors. We can reach out to them. They can say, okay, go to this portal, or, you need to think about this, this, and this. But if you don't have that, there's a lot of like misleading info or incomplete info. You don't know what applies when and where, and there's so many unknowns, and we're not specialists in those fields. Like we're scientists. And even then, if you're you can't be a specialist in everything. You're going to need help from someone. And it's really expensive to also do all of these like market research, like those like analyses that you can do. So yeah, that was like a big surprise when we entered that space, was kind of the lack of information, especially in South Africa. And if you don't have access to these specialized sources, it can be quite difficult to navigate.
And it's such a crucial element also of having, insights into the market, because otherwise, how are you going to make well-informed decisions that are related to your business? So
Exactly.
That's quite crucial indeed. Michelle, what were your market entry barriers that you've observed?
Thank you. I want to add something for the regulations, because I studied economics, so I'm from the other side. So I can really agree on your point of view. But for me, for example, it was a lack of experiences in science. So I didn't know something about chemistry. This was totally new for me. Like the product was new for me. Also, the way of working was new for me. But I was trained very intensively in how to set up a company, how to make the company successful. So that was basically part of my studies, and I did it several times, as this was not my first company. So I got a lot of experiences from this side, but I do not have the experiences in the chemical industry. But I think from our side, it worked really well so far, because my two co-founders, they are chemists. So they came, of course, with some expectations and also experiences from the chemical industry. So they are basically focusing on all the chemistry related topics, on the regulations we have to fulfill, and I'm focusing on the economics, on the financial side, on the management side. So we have a really good separation of the tasks. But of course, I have to say, in Germany, there are regulations for everything, especially when you are a chemical startup. So just to mention one thing, for example, the Bundesemissionsschutzgesetz in Germany. So this means we have to exactly know now how our chemical plant will look like in 1.5 years. But actually, we are a startup and we are going to scale our technology. So how do we know at this moment how our plant will look like in 1.5 years? Of course, we are working on this, but we don't have the answer now. But we have to apply now to have like the to be allowed to produce. So this, for example, is a really high market barrier we have to face, and there are many of them if you are a chemical startup. That's crazy.
Yeah, Germany is definitely known for all these different bureaucratic, regulations with long names. So this is it's not even a long name that you just mentioned, right? The Bundesemissionsschutzgesetz. There's lots of other laws and jurisdictions that, where you think, why are they there? But I guess that there was a reason why they were,
I think there are reasons. But I just want to say that it's not so practical as a startup. I mean, for big companies who are doing or dealing with some topics for a long time, they already got a plan, they know what to do. But you, as a startup, you are starting. You have no customers, you have no money, you have to build everything from the scratch. And then, of course, it is much more better if you have a good environment to grow. But if there's too much bureaucracy, then this is also a big hurdle for startups. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And what's that one obstacle that you still haven't figured out in your industry, Michelle?
For me, it is the sales. We are, of course, making some revenue. We just started in June our GmbH. We have first customers, but of course, we also have some investors, so we also have pressure to reach our revenue goals. But for us, it's also kind of hard because in Germany, we are facing a very uncertain time in the chemical industry. Companies are not so open, as mentioned. The first thing they stop in the companies is now, or which they cut, is the budget for R&D, for example, for some corporations. So this is kind of a tricky situation for us as well. And I have the feeling that customers want a really innovative company, but on the other side, they also want a company who has been doing this for like 40 years or something. So they want to have someone really experienced. But honestly, and this is obvious, we are not so experienced. We just started. That's a fact. So this is kind of hard for us, and I think we have been done a good job so far, but we still have to learn so much in this field, and this is also like a big challenge for us, like doing a very professional sales or building a good sales department, which is working really efficient. This is something I haven't figured out yet.
And being given the chance to kind of allow yourself to kind of build the relationship over time and find clients. Tough challenge. What's that one obstacle for you and Tricom?
I think we definitely also agree with you, Michelle. Everything that you mentioned is stuff that we've experienced 100%. And I think on top of that, in South Africa, I feel the biotech industry is still very small, but growing. It's growing, but it's still very small. So, and in any case, I don't really know if there's a lot of companies, to my knowledge, that does what we're doing. Meaning, we didn't set up our own lab. We didn't have a lot of funding to put up this infrastructure. And therefore hire people to do sales, hire people to do all of these different sections. We have a partnership with Wits University, and that has allowed us to be able to kind of offer and do what we do without that initial funding, which means Mariska and I do everything. So it's we don't have any company or multiple companies that we can benchmark ourselves against. So I feel like we're kind of figuring everything out for ourselves and how our company works by ourselves. It's not like we can look at a similar company and be like, oh, they do it like that, let's try that. So I think that's been a major obstacle for us.
So you yourself are setting the benchmark then for the industry that you're active in.
I guess so.
At the end of the day.
Yeah.
Oh, no, it's just a quick observation from what you said. Share that. Like share whatever you're learning and kind of set that standard and find then maybe through that outreach, maybe you can then find partners that are more willing to kind of do great work in the space that you're active in. But
That's why we started our in education.
I was about to say that,
is because we've found so much value when we speak to other people in the space and learning through their journeys and what to do, what not to do, and how do you listen to advice from people, because you get so much different advice and you don't know what to do. So how do you learn to listen to your gut? And so that's why we found it so important to start this education company, and hopefully we'll be able to get sponsors soon to help support those initiatives and really pay it forward.
Yeah, and that's why also Mariska was saying that if anybody reaches out to us and asks a question, we'll reply to them. We'll give them the time, the answers, because we've had, I almost would say like 80% of the people that you reach out to never get back to you again. And people are busy and it's fine. But it would be so nice if people could just communicate with each other instead of everyone having to try and do everything from the beginning and relearn everything. It's repeating the same cycles that are just so unnecessary.
What should other people or business owners know before entering the biotech or the biochemistry or the chemical industry? Is there anything that you would point out, Mariska?
Yeah, I can already think like the long timelines, especially within these industries, biotech, chemical. Things don't move fast. I mean, we know that from our own, like, I think we wanted to start cell culture at the beginning of the year and we still haven't started it because things happen.
Yeah.
And, that's just how science is. So long timelines, regulations are also really complex if you're in spaces like pharmacy, chemicals, that kind of thing. If you're in supplements and stuff, that it is like a little bit more chill.
A little bit, yeah.
But the regulations are still very complex, especially with like GMP standards with manufacturing. Once you get to that stage after R&D, like the downstream processes are very regulated. And yeah. So
Yeah, that's a tough one because I mean, I think like we're still in that situation where we also were trying to access certain things and it's not something that you can just Google.
yeah.
So it is a bit tough. Like you either need to talk to an industry expert, which usually means you have to pay for it, or you just have to do so much research that you kind of like nail things down to one
Yeah.
central thing, and you're like, okay, I think this is it. So yeah, it's a one.
It really helps to get mentorship.
Mm.
So ask the people that you have access to, your networks, and as well as the incubators. So
Yeah,
we're quite privileged that we have those people that we can speak to.
Yeah. And for you, Michelle, like what else would you like to share with business owners that they should know about before entering the chemical industry?
Yeah, for me as an economist, it was so important to plan everything, to have the business plan, to have the financial plan, to come up with everything. But to be honest, like in chemistry, you cannot really plan experiments or like how long they take. For example, my co-founders, they can be in the lab for 1 week and they can have a really good result, but they can also be in the lab for 2 weeks and they have no results in the end because every experiment was not working, for example. So we have to plan, of course, and we have to make some plans for our investors, for ourselves, to have the project management. But it's really, really hard to put them into deadlines because sometimes you have open results, and that's something I haven't experienced out of the chemistry industry so far. Because, as mentioned, my topic points were more from the economical side, and you just take predictions and you really plan everything, but it's not so good plannable.
So being resilient and knowing that things could turn out this way, that way, or even how do you say it? Inconcise, like not knowing still after checking.
Yeah.
So lots of room for interpretation at the end of the day. Yeah, that's important to know. Anything else that you would like to add?
Not from my side.
Okay. So we want to change the game. So that's the next category, changing the game. And I would like to talk to you about how you're shaping your industry and making an impact in the space where you are in. So in what ways does your business change the status quo for clients that you're serving? Michelle, would you like to start?
Just a little feedback from my side. Mareike, your internet connection seems to be not really stable.
For us
yeah,
to,
probably you could switch to another network.
I don't think she can hear us.
Oh no,
She's dropped off.
we've lost her.
By the way, if you are interested, we have a really big community for biotech in Leipzig and also in the city which is near to Leipzig, the next city, Halle. There's also like a really big biotech hub. And because you said that you also want to expand into Germany, I could also make some
Definitely.
introductory calls or emails.
Oh, definitely.
Because they are pretty good starting point for you probably. They also have a big network and they help startups to grow. So this would be probably interesting for you.
Would be amazing because we've definitely noticed that the startup biotech industry is a lot bigger in Europe and in America, I guess. But we just want to, like in South Africa, it's just not. So we have also started realizing that our ideal clients are probably going to be international clients. They're probably not going to come from South Africa. So also just having to look at like how do we reach those clients overseas,
Getting access.
and what could we realistically provide for them, which is fine because we're still we work in the R&D space, so it's very early stage. So we don't necessarily send samples or things like that. We'll do all of the work in-house and then just do reporting.
Yeah.
So that makes it a lot easier as well to work with international clients.
Yeah.
But that would be
so-
great. We'd appreciate that a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. I think that would be a good match for you as well with the organizations I know, because they helped us also a lot. We as a chemical startup, we have some problems to fit in the clusters because it's very biotech focused here in this
Yeah.
region, and you do not
Sure.
have so many networks or programs for chemical
Oh, we
companies
have lots
or
of chemical.
Yeah, you see now here we can
have
help
the
each other.
chemical. Yeah, because there's a lot of
You never-
chemical support here this side, so we can help you with that.
Well, actually, we'll maybe reach out to you on LinkedIn and then
Yeah.
we can start a conversation. That would be great. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Let me find you
Let's
like
do
right
it.
now.
Yeah, let's do a gap year. So you are coming over and I'm traveling to the, South Africa. So everyone is in place for the
Yes.
right network. That would be the best
I would
opportunity.
love to see Germany. I would love that.
Oh, here we go. I found you.
It's this one, hey?
Yeah.
Yeah, we found you. We've just sent you an invite.
Yeah, perfect.
Great.
Oh, I love your cover photo. Like, looks so
It's
nice.
beautiful.
Thank you.
And your photo.
So,
Yeah.
up next is the category Changing the Game. And in this category, I would like to talk to you about how you're shaping your industry and making an impact. So, in what ways does your business change the status quo for clients that you're serving? Michelle, would you like to kick it off?
Yeah, sure. We make chemical building blocks available, which are not available here on the European market yet because of the conventional production method. And this has a really big impact because with our chemical building blocks, you are able to build more product innovations. For example, if you are trying or if you are experimenting with new chemical building blocks, then probably you can innovate your products with new properties. So this is the impact we are going to make on the market.
Very big one. Cool. And what is it for you for Tricom?
I think we've got so many different divisions, but if I could summarize all of them together into one thing that we're changing is we're offering personalized services, custom services. So yes, we do have some basic services that we would offer, and you can, like for example, with our education, we have certain things that we'll be selling with our innovation as well. But the whole idea around it is that it's all custom services. A company can come to us and say, this is what we'd like to get done. How can you help us? It's not like, here's the list of services, pick and choose. We don't do more than that. Yeah, that would be a big one. And then I think also just bridging that gap that is found between academia and industry, which is something we've experienced and been involved in. So
yeah, I think you can personally relate to that. So that's kind of easy to sell if
Yeah.
you know what you're talking about. That's great.
definitely.
Yeah. And what role does impact play in your business, and how do you measure your impact? And do you currently already do it? Marsha or Chanel?
I mean, I can say that impact is very central to everything that we do.
Yeah.
Basically, so like our services, the impact is like basically giving startups access to a lab, that advanced R&D, also for other companies to be able to outsource their R&D, which I mean, we've got very specialized equipment in the labs, which isn't available throughout the whole country. So we're basically offering that. We're offering that education, that training to those that didn't have it when, I mean, we didn't have it when we were younger.
Yeah.
So things that we wish we had in place when we are in the ecosystem. And because we're on both sides of the ecosystem, we can really see where the gaps are. And we're really just trying to bridge that, which is why we're literally trying to bridge that. We're taking education, like our education from entrepreneurship into the schools and vice versa, as well as the science. And also with our innovation, basically, I mean, that can be quite impactful in a multitude of ways, from like the SDGs, if we're really looking from that perspective, but also just providing, like clean proteins, health, like part of the health industry, the food sector, and increasing bioavailability, which is really,
What it's all about.
Yeah.
Innovation. Yeah.
And I mean, how do we measure that? Basically, like the projects that we are involved in, the clients that we support, the scientific outputs that we do, the reach and the education programs that we have, and basically how many people are we able to offer our services to and give them that exposure that we really want them to get. And also like the partnerships that we build along the way. It's all about building an ecosystem and not just competing against each other all the time, because nothing's going to get built that way. We might as well just all hold hands and
Work together.
sing kumbaya and make this, make a really good ecosystem for biotech and really training the future, scientists and entrepreneurs of the next generation.
Yeah.
And I can imagine that for you and for the businesses that you're working with, it's also about their impact that you kind of link to, because you're making it possible for them to then generate impact with the products and services that they can then. Oftentimes it's probably
Definitely.
products, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And for you, Michelle, in what ways, or what is the role that impact plays in your business, and how do you measure it?
Yeah, I think the impact is also really central for us at Syneo, as we came up with a new chemical process and we replaced a toxic gas phosgene with CO2-based technology. So this is the impact we make. So we are producing in a more sustainable kind of way, isocyanates, but I have to say in the end, this is still a toxic chemical. But at least we are changing the way how to produce it and not to use phosgene, which was also used in the world wars to kill people, actually. So we are replacing this and using CO2, and this technology, we are really making a difference. We do not measure it for now, but we are working on calculating our impact, how many or how much CO2 are we using, how can we define whether we are sustainable? What are the KPIs which are behind it? So we are not really focusing on being seen as a sustainable company now, because we want to have first the numbers and have first the KPIs that we have to prove, okay, we are more sustainable because this or that. But we are still working on this, because this is also a high responsibility to communicate something like this.
And I'm also believe maybe the industries or the kind of like the specific markets that you're entering, they might then require something from you, and then you'll find out, okay, what is actually important? What should we measure? So it's probably part of the journey of entering the market and seeing what is needed as in terms of the figures and the impact measurements. Yeah, that's such an important topic.
Yeah, but I can share, for the moment, we experience that our customers are not really interested in whether we are making impact or not. We talk to a lot of customers, and in the end, it's always like they want to see that the price is competitive to the prices on the market. So unfortunately, it doesn't matter as much as we hoped it will be, but they are still very focused on the price.
And I see a lot of nodding on the other side, so it seems to be something more predominant.
It's true.
Yeah,
definitely. Yeah.
And if you could wish for something to change about the way business is done in your industry, what would that be? Marushka or Chanel, start.
I think like one thing that we've experienced a lot is that, like I said, the ecosystem for startups, and it's small in South Africa, but it is growing and more opportunities are coming, and it's great. But a lot of these opportunities that come, they want you to be at a prototype stage at the very minimum. And you can imagine with biotech startups, getting to just having a prototype takes a lot of time, energy, funding. And a lot of people are very weary to fund such an early stage concept. So yeah, it would be nice. I think if we get into touch with the right people, like it's possible. But yeah, if we could maybe just make funding a bit more accessible for these early stage concepts, maybe looking at the qualifications of the people who are running this project and their capability of making this happen, and not just looking at, but is the product there already? Which again, I can understand it from an investment point of view. I can, but it's just if I could change something, I would change that. Yeah,
great stuff. Michelle, what would that be for you? What would you like to change?
Yeah, from my side, it would be the startup cooperation. As already mentioned, I have the feeling, especially in Germany, that sometimes companies are not really open to cooperate to startups. For example, the big corporate companies, that was also kind of thing Chanel mentioned, that they will tell you, come later if you have a prototype or something. But how to start? I mean, I have to get funded to build a prototype. I
Yeah.
have to work together with companies or partners to build the prototype. So this is a never-ending story. So I would also change this. This would be very crucial to get better results for the startups.
Yeah.
And in terms of the funding, I can add that we have experienced, or we closed our funding round just a couple of months ago, our first funding round. And we have experienced in Europe that investors were really focused on the team as well.
Okay.
So I really agree with the point you brought. But also, I have the feeling that investors also consider the the founding team. That they really look whether the people are capable doing this or what the qualifications of the people are. So I had the feeling that this was also one of the focus topics they really check in the end. At least here in Germany, this was the experience we got.
Definitely think we need to expand our reach
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah, we've got to go international with what we're trying to do.
You can also probably use our investors list. I can share some investors with you because we did a good research on chemical and biotech investors. Also, I mean, it's based in Germany, but at least
Yeah.
probably this is a good starting point for you as well. I'm not sure
Thank
whether this
you.
is the right fit, but it's kind of same industry for the
No,
investors.
Yeah.
that's great. That would I think like that's the whole point, right? That
Yeah.
like us helping each other, figuring out like that we're all struggling with the
Yeah.
same things, and yeah, that's
Sharing our
fantastic.
networks. Yeah.
Wonderful. I'm so glad that you ladies are just exchanging, the contacts, the prior research that you have been doing for your businesses, because it's just going to benefit all of us at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So thank you for this. Lastly, in the category founder support, such a suitable topic, I'd like to touch on the specific support programs, resources and networks for female founders in Africa and Europe that they should definitely check out. And what is the kind of support that you valued the most? I think you mentioned quite a bit of access to resource, access to mentors. Is that it, or is something else very, very, very valuable that you received along your journey?
I mean, I think a very valuable piece of, I guess like support that we received was having the necessary relationships within the university to set up those partnerships. Because we were there for 10 years, we had built a very good relationship with the supervisors, with, the staff basically there. And there's a lot of, trust that we have with each other. So that was like really, really important in, kind of building up where we are for our services division in particular. But also the mentorship that we've had just from like reaching out to people and them just giving us their guidance and their journey, but also accelerator programs that we've been a part of. I think like UberBio has like played such a
huge role
for us. And yeah, I mean, they've given us so much exposure, so much mentorship, so much help. Whenever we need something in accounting, we call up our accounting girl and we're like, yo, please help us with this question, and she'll help us. It's really just a really good resource to have. And yeah, I think I can't stress enough how important networking is, and, just collaborating together.
Yeah, and I think like especially with UberBio, why I like them so much, because I don't know if you'll experience this with all incubator and accelerators. UberBio, I feel like they talk to us like they know us. I don't know if that kind
It feels
sense,
like,
but
I don't know, like
they're involved with us. They care about the things that we're asking for. They
we feel like they care. I feel like that's the main thing. Is we feel like
big.
they care. Like, I mean, we work in particular with like two people. I mean, David and Vedanta. So we work with them, and they're honestly just like when you speak to them, you tell them your needs. Like they honestly just like care about us, not just about our company and what we're doing, but like us as people as well.
And many times they'll send us like links to workshops, and they'll go out of their way to involve us in certain programs, things that we wouldn't have been aware of if it wasn't for that connection. So like, no, they've really been a huge part of it, and they do their job so well. So we have to give them a shout out.
Yeah.
Awesome. And Michelle, what kind of support did you value the most on your entrepreneurial journey thus far?
Yeah, I think we also took part in a lot of support programs. In Germany, there were really a lot. And at some point, we also noticed that we really have to think about whether we are taking part in each program, because I think for early stage startups, there are a lot of supporting programs. So at some point, we just decided to keep on our focus and not fitting into a program, because it was just too much. If you have the fourth class of like how to pitch your business idea, then it's just enough. You have other topics, so you will just proceed with your topic. So at some point, I think it's also really important for startups to not just take part in every program because there is a program. So really have a look which program brings you further, which network helps you the best. So this is something I really want to point out, that I value the most the support of my two co-founders. Because this is really the thing which brought us to the point we are actually at the moment. And they are just two brilliant chemists, and I really value their perspectives. They can come up with so many ideas which I actually do not have. And on the other side, I'm also bringing some topics to the table, or also my perspectives, which they probably will not have. So I think we have a good mix in the team. And we are always very supportive, and I can they take over always the responsibility of their topic. So this is the best value or the best support I can have. So this is I value the most the support from my co-founders.
That's amazing. Thank you for that shout out to your co-founders. And is there any specific support programs or networks that female founders specifically, doesn't matter now the industry, should check out? And have you made use of any of those? Is there anything that you can think of, Michelle?
Yeah, we would. Oh, sorry.
No, it's fine.
No, you can start.
You can go ahead.
I was so eager to jump on. Yeah, I would just say Uva Bio. We've been talking about them a lot, but they've been really good, and I really would strongly recommend it to everyone. I don't think maybe they're not for everyone. I think that there's certain criteria you have to meet.
Yeah, like molecular biology, that kind of stuff.
But for anyone in South Africa that's looking at like, where do I go? I've got this idea, this innovation. Uva Bio is a good place to start.
And for female founders specifically, do you know anything else?
I wouldn't say that we know of like exact things for female founders, because we haven't come across any ourselves that have stood out, that we're like, oh wow, we should really definitely do this.
So,
I think maybe some exposure and some, platforms where we could actually find this information would be great.
Yeah, we can definitely work that out. That's something that I think I would also like to kind of compile like a list of specific programs for female founders that are very insightful, and maybe also give you access to different types of markets. So because sometimes it's about also knowing that actually there's something abroad that we can then reach out to, because you also previously shared this, Mariska, when you went to Cambridge and you did a program that opened up so much like so many new opportunities. And I guess there's also that for international exchange, which I'm very passionate about, because bringing together people from these different nations and kind of learning and seeing the access points that otherwise you would not see because you're not there, you're not close. So that's something. Anything else from your side, Michelle, that you would like to highlight?
From my side, as mentioned, I think there are a lot of programs starting now for female founders. But I think the first step is if you are studying, or if you have studied at university, then probably your startup network at university, because this was the first step from our side. And they had a specific program just for female founders as well. So we were using our startup network called Succeed, and they implemented a version just for female founders, which is called Foundress. And this was a really good point because from this organization, we applied for the Access Women Scholarship, for example. This is a scholarship for females, and you get funded for 3 months to actually apply for bigger fundings later. So this is kind of good thing, and we all also used it. And when it comes to funding, then there are also some funds just for female founders in Germany. So, for example, AUXO, this is a female catalyst fund. You can hand in your wheat deck or pitch deck if you are like a female founding team. But also there's in Germany the organization for female business angels, for example. These are just female business angels who come together to invest in companies. I'm not quite sure whether they just invest in other female companies, but also mixed companies. But in general, it's just, or you just find female business angels there, which is like a good thing because there are not so many female business angels out there. So it's also a good thing to talk to other females in science or also economics, for example. So these are my addresses I would reach out.
Yeah, there's also something called Encourage Ventures. And I've previously also reached out to them once again because I wanted to find out like how are they also then investing in African businesses, because I found that there are some funds and like networks specifically gathering female investors that can then also maybe reach out to something like Tricom Biotechnologies and kind of see where there's a fit. So I think opening up these networks would be something, definitely worthwhile. So before we finish this episode, is there anything that you would like to add that we didn't get to talk about?
I would like to say something from my side. So Mareike, thank you so much for organizing this. This is also a big task to make the matchmaking, to bring people together. And you are doing this today from your vacation. So I really feel the passion you are bringing into the topic. So thanks from my side for the really good match with Marushka and Chanel. And I'm really grateful that we met a couple of months ago. Thank you so much.
Thank you too for reaching out and being open to doing this episode together. Anything from your side? Marushka, you started,
So, I mean, I think I agree with Michelle as well. So thank you for bringing us together and, for also fostering this intercontinental European African, relationship and collaboration. I mean, we've already found her on LinkedIn. We've already connected. So we'll definitely be in touch after this. So this has definitely been like a fruitful session. And I think like speaking about matchmaking, I think one of the most important things as a founder is the matchmaking of your co-founders. You have to get along. You have to have the same working style, but also not just the same working style and the same like thoughts. You have to think differently in a way that's complementary to each other, because some people think differently to you, but it's in a conflicting type of way, but we think so differently, but it complements each other so well. We fill in the gaps where the other one lacks, and we really just balance each other out really nicely. So I think that working style and that working relationship with your co-founders is so important. I think that's like if you don't really have that at your company, you can have a great idea, but whether it will be successful is a different story.
And like that's definitely something we've noticed a lot of people struggle with, is finding the right co-founder. Because a lot of people actually, like, you start a business by yourself and then you realize that you can't do it, because if you have to motivate yourself and you have to do all the work yourself and you have to think, there's so many times I'll do something and then Marushka will look over it and be like, oh, Chanel, remember this, and I'm like, oh my gosh, thank goodness someone else was looking at this, just to give that different perspective, because obviously not everyone thinks the way that you think. So
and we all have different like experiences. So I've done different techniques and she's done different techniques, and then she'll say, oh wow, like why didn't we add this, or why shouldn't, like maybe we should think about this. I'm like, think about that, and then we'll speak about something else, about like finance. I'll be like, we need to do this every month, right?
And I'm like, oh, I didn't know that.
Do we need to do that? And I was like, so we have like different knowledge, and it just complements each other so well, where
it's really,
if you don't have that, if you don't speak the same language, even though you're saying different things, it can be really difficult.
I could see Michelle relating to this point.
Yeah.
Thank you, ladies, for sharing. Dankeschön, danke, for sharing all these insights with our listeners, trusting me, as a host. And I wish you a wonderful week ahead. Those channels that people could reach out to, they will be linked in the show notes. So do feel free to check out more about Tricom Biotechnologies, about the work that Senior is doing in the space. So all the best with your next steps for the businesses that you're active in. And thank you for doing the work that you're doing. I know that you're so consistent and persistent and working on achieving your dreams and making them actually into goals. So all the best for achieving those goals, ladies. And thank you for coming together.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So remember that life is a story worth sharing. Continue to share yours with the world. And a big shout out to all those of us who follow the entrepreneurial journey. We need your valuable solutions to solve problems we're facing today and tomorrow. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this episode. Feel free to leave a comment and follow our social media channels that you'll find in the description. Keep well.